fans of high quality entertainment. This is Bob Dylan singing a Frank Zappa song.
Why does it hurt when I pee? I don't want no doctor sticking no needle in me. Why does it hurt when I pee?
Thank you. Let's get serious now. Today I am going to be ranking the Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention albums that I own, so it won't be his complete discography. And in the past, I think I did a 3-part video where I just reviewed the albums that I own by Frank Zappa. But this is different. This is ranking them. And believe me, it was difficult. And I know probably next week they would be ranked differently. Because I love the music of Frank Zappa overall, excluding Thingfish. And I was actually thinking, because I did used to own Thingfish, and I got rid of it because I couldn't stand it. But I haven't heard it in a few years. Maybe I should listen to it on Spotify and do a Does This Album Suck? Maybe it doesn't suck. I don't know. And what I'm doing now, usually I just rank the studio albums, but with Frank Zappa, all of his studio albums usually contain some live recordings, or they're all live recordings, so it doesn't matter. These are his studio-based albums I'm reviewing, so I'm not reviewing stuff like that I own, like Cheap Thrills, like compilations, the Lost Episodes, Playground Psychotics. This could be included in the rankings, but I don't want to, because it's more of a, things like this were released after Frank Zappa's passing. And Carnegie Hall, 4-disc, with a fantastic version of Billy the Mountain. Billy was a mountain. Ethel was a tree growing off of his shoulder. The high quality entertainment never stops. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 Frank Zappa albums or CDs. And quite a few of them are like doubles. And these are, I don't think I'm missing, I want to get Chunga's Revenge. I did have that a long time ago. And there's a couple of others, missing. But these are definitely some of my favorite Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention CDs. So my least favorite, but I still like it, in my collection is Reuben and the Jets, which was Frank Zappa's, what's the word I'm looking for? There's no word for it. It's like his love of doo-wop and the 50s, and it's done seriously, and he does a great job on it. Great vocals by Ray Collins on this. And there's one killer guitar solo on the last track, Stuff Up the Cracks. But otherwise, it's just your good 50s style music. Even Bob, Janet Sampson, would probably enjoy this. Maybe he's heard it, I don't know. But that is my least favorite. So, like I said, I love all of these albums. Next up, at 21, that was 22, this is 21, is Lumpy Gravy, which is just crazy. It's a lot of, it's just crazy. But I enjoyed it. My favorite section is when they're inside the piano and it's all dark. But it's fun to listen to. I enjoy it. I don't play it very often, but anytime I do get a kick out of it. Number 20. Wow. I'm actually shocked because he has so many damn good albums. Sorry for swearing. At number 20 is Waka Jawaka. And I know some of you might remember me talking about this in the past, you know, how much I love the Grand Wazoo and Hot Rats, and this is part of the jazz rock that he was doing in the early 70s, and I just couldn't get into this like the other ones. But I am still listening to it. I do enjoy it more than I did, but it's still one of my least favorite Frank Zappa albums that I own. But I still do enjoy it. I think in time, I don't listen to it a lot, but the times I do listen to it, I like it more and more every time. Number 19, Zoot Allures. And I believe on this album, it's mainly Frank Zappa. It's not the whole band like it shows. It's only Terry Bozzio on drums. And Frank Zappa plays, of course, the guitar, but he plays the bass on some of the songs. There are live cuts with, I believe, a band, but the studio tracks, Frank Zappa's playing the bass and the keyboards and whatever else. And he was, I guess he was a very good drummer too. When he started out, he was a drummer. So talented. But yeah, I love Zoodlers. Wind up working in the gas station. The instrumentals, Black Napkins and Friendly Little Finger. The Torture Never Stops kind of used to annoy me, but I like it more than I used to. And of course, Disco Boy, and yeah, fun album. Hopefully keep track of the numbers here. Number 18. Absolutely Free. That's right. If this was in the record store and you saw this, it says absolutely free. Just pick it up. Take it home. Yeah, it's with the early mothers of invention. I've just never, I do like it, but I never loved it as much as We're Only In It For The Money, which came out after this. Yeah. But it's a fun listen and lots of humor in it. The Duke of Prunes. Colony Vegetable is a classic. Brown Shoes Don't Make It. Yeah, lots of fun, crazy songs on this. I enjoy it. Number 17. The Man from Utopia, one of his later albums. This was around the time I stopped buying Frank Zappa albums. I bought this one and Drowning Which One, and I liked them, but after that I just stopped buying his albums. And I liked this at the time, but I like it a lot more now. It's really gone up. Even though it's low in my rankings here, I really enjoy it. I think it's underrated. Cocaine Decisions is great. Even a song like The Radio Is Broken, it is so annoying. You think I'm annoying? Go listen to The Radio Is Broken. But I've gotten to the point now where I actually love it. I really enjoy it. And We Are Not Alone, I believe that is the instrumental, and it's right up there with his music on like Hot Rats. It's a short song, but it's very hooky, and it's just a great instrumental. I think almost anybody would enjoy a track like that. Number 17 is the double album, Uncle Meat. I rarely play this, but when I first heard it, I absolutely loved it. Lots of crazy, fun songs on this. The Dog Breath Variations and Electric Aunt Jemima. You know, speeded up vocals here and there. And it's just crazy. The only thing I never ever have gotten into is the King Kong section of the album. But otherwise, I really love, you know, all the short instrumentals and The Air and Mr. Green Jeans. I might listen to this tonight because it's been a while. But I still, yeah, I enjoy it a lot. But it's ranked lower than the ones coming up. Number 16, I think. There it is. Ship arriving too late to save a drowning witch. That's the album title. This, of course, has Valley Girl with a moon unit on it. And just like The Man from Utopia, I like this a lot more. I love it, but I mean, I love it a lot more than I used to. No Not Now, once again, kind of annoying in a way with the chorus, but on further listens, I get into it and I really love it. I Come From Nowhere. Teenage Prostitute, that is seriously, when this came out, I didn't care for it. I thought it was, he's just trying to do your typical rock song or whatever, but now I really enjoy it. Great album. Underrated. Number 16, I think. The Mothers, Fillmore East, June 1971. Featuring Flo and Eddie, which I know that a lot of, not a lot, but quite a few Frank Zappa fans aren't a fan of this era of Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. But I've always loved Flo and Eddie. I've loved the humor. Sometimes, yes, it did get a little bit too gross or whatever, but overall, they were talented. They could sing. They were great. And the band was great. So, I love them. And they even do, because Flo and Eddie were in the band The Turtles in the 60s, they even do a killer version of Happy Together. I love this. I even have a 2-for-1 of Flo and Eddie albums from the 70s. My favorite is Moving Targets, this one. And it's got some seriously great rock songs on it. But that's not in the rankings. I guess I was way off in my count. 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. Number 13. Freak Out. The very first Frank Zappa, well, it was the Mothers of Invention, but it was the first Frank Zappa album. And this truly did inspire the Beatles, John Lennon and Paul McCartney at least, for Sgt. Pepper. Not so much the music, but the concept of a whole album that kind of had a concept to it in a way. I don't know what the concept was, but that's what the Beatles got out of it, I guess. And so that and of course Pet Sounds influenced Sgt. Pepper. And lots of very fun short songs on this. My favorite is probably, you're probably wondering why I'm here. Anyway the Wind Blows, Hungry Freaks Daddy, they're all great. Help I'm a Rock, Trouble Every Day, which I think is one of the earliest rap songs. And it's a serious song. And Frank Zappa is basically rapping on it. What number is this? Number 12, which I think would be up higher on most other Frank Zappa fans' lists, but I love it, is Apostrophe. thumbnail. Yep, I actually enjoy this more than I did when I bought it back in the... I got into Frank Zappa in 1975. First album I should have said this at the beginning, but the first album, I'd known about him for years. I loved his album covers, like, we're only in it for the money, but I'd never heard his music. And one day in a cutout bin was One Size Fits All. That was a good album to get as his first, because it's one of his best. And I became a fan ever since 1975. So yeah, I bought this around the same time, Apostrophe, but like I said, I love it even more now. Great musicianship, cosmic debris, killer guitar work, then the violin guy, what's his name? Even Stinkfoot, I used to think it was a stupid song, believe it or not. Imagine Frank Zappa making a stupid song. But I understand now it's stupid for a reason, and it features, once again, a killer guitar solo by Frank Zappa. So I love this album. And don't eat the yellow snow. That's one thing I'll tell you. Number 11, another live album. Just another band from LA featuring the crazy Flo and Eddie. Yeah. Once again, when I first heard this, the first side is like a really long song, and it's actually edited. It was longer than the 24 minutes that it is on this album. And I didn't care for it. I thought it was stupid. Flo and Eddie are stupid. But in time, I got to really enjoy the craziness of it and the music. Some great music on this whole album, and some great vocals by Flo and Eddie, and I absolutely enjoy it. Number 10, probably his best band in this era. Another live album, Roxy and Elsewhere. I used to play this a lot years ago. I don't play it as much now, but absolutely phenomenal musicianship. Village of the Sun, Cheapness, More Trouble Every Day, double album, and excellent music. I love Ruth Underwood. I love the whole band. Let's just say that. Number nine. I played this a lot when it came out. Definitely one of my favorites. You Are What You Is. That's right. You Are What You Is. The whole album just flows. And Harder Than Your Husband, which is a countryish. It's a mock country song. And it goes harder than your husband to get along with. I'm a Beautiful Guy, Conehead, The Meek Shall Inherit Nothing. This was when he was getting into the more serious, still funny songs, but a more serious subject underneath all of it. Like getting drafted and everything. Superb album. Lots of fun. Number 8. These all could be number 1. We're only in it for the money. And of course, the very first time I saw this in a record store, probably around the time it was released, probably in 68 or 69, the album cover was... That was the album cover. So that really, when I was 10 years old, that caught my eye. and I thought, what the heck is that? And I want to listen to it. But, you know, this was the original album cover, of course, and probably the greatest parody album cover of them all, at least to me. And that is actually, of course, Jimi Hendrix was a fan of Zappa's and Friends, and that is actually him there. It's not like a cutout. He was actually there at the photo shoot. And there's Frank Zappa in pigtails and a dress. So yeah, just a crazy anti-hippie album. Imagine an anti-hippie album in 1968. But just the whole band, it's one of my favorite group shots. Number 7, Overnight Sensation. Lots of killer guitar work, mainly short, concise songs that are, you know, on the commercial side for Frank Zappa. Camarillo Brillo, I'm the Slime, Dirty Love, 50-50, another killer guitar solo in that. Zombie Woof, Dynamo Hum, and of course Montana. Lots of humor, lots of funny humor, just like on my channel. And lots of great musicianship. Now this, number 6, is, like I said, the very first Frank Zappa album I ever heard, and I loved it right away. And it's continued to be my favorite. If somebody wants to get into Frank Zappa for the first time, I would tell them, listen to One Size Fits All. Great band, some great guitar work in it. Every song is a classic. Inca Roads, like his first song, it's part studio, and then the guitar solo that's in the Stop Scratching. No? Okay. Yeah. Inca Roads, the opening track. It's part studio, and then the guitar solo in the middle is live. And that used to kind of bug me a bit, that Frank Zappa would insert live tracks on studio albums, but it's Frank Zappa, and I don't care anymore. But this is just excellent. Man. I look at these and I think, did I rank these the right way? I'm gonna change that. This will be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, number 5. Chic your booty. Get it? Shake your booty. Chic your booty. Yeah, I bought this when it came out, and it was a great time. A great time to be a Frank Zappa fan. This was a double album. Of course, some studio, some live. Nothing to say about it. If you've heard Frank Zappa and you like it, run out and buy this one. Number 4, definitely one of my all-time favorite live albums. I wish it was kind of like Genesis Live, the one with Peter Gabriel. I wish it was a double. But it's Bongo Fury with Captain Beefheart, and it's a single. I've played this a lot, and I still do. With one of my all-time, well, 2 of my all-time favorite guitar solos, Carolina Hardcore Ecstasy and Muffin Man. Then, of course, I'm a big fan of Captain Beefheart, so Deborah Cadabra is just crazy with great vocals by Captain Beefheart, and a couple of poetry songs by Captain Beefheart. Advanced Romance, just killer guitar work in that, and of course Muffin Man. Number 3. Now, like I said, all of these in the top 10 could be number 1 at some point, like when I'm listening to them. Grand Wazoo with one of my all-time favorite album covers. and back album covers. It's mainly instrumental, except for one song, and it's jazz rock. Not as much guitar work as on Hot Rats, but I don't care. I love the, it's got horns and woodwinds, keyboards, of course, brass. I never, ever, ever get tired of listening to this. If you have any interest in jazz rock and you haven't heard Grand Wazoo, pick it up tomorrow, not today. Number 2, another jazz rock, Frank Zappa, Hot Rats, and another of my all-time favorite album covers. And Captain Beefheart appears on Willie the Pimp, which features once again one of my all-time favorite one of my all-time favorite guitar solos, and it goes on for like 5 or 6 minutes. But the whole album is all of the instrumentals are great, and of course the opening track, Peaches and Regalia, is considered by a lot of Frank Zappa fans to be his best work ever, and for me it would be right up there also. Hot Rats. And this has to be number 1. I know I probably messed up some of the numbers. I should have labeled them. But this is, I think this would always remain my favorite. And it's actually a triple. Joe's Garage. It originally came out on one album, and then part 2 was a double album. And now on CD, it's just got all 3 on, is it 2 CDs? Yeah. On 2 CDs. It's got everything you would love about Frank Zappa. It's got the humor, it's got the craziness, it's got the catchy tunes, it's got great guitar solos, and it's a whole concept, a crazy concept. And I'll just end this by saying Frank Zappa was seriously a genius, a musical genius, and he would write down all these notes by hand, and he just did so much work in his life, and it was a sad day when he passed away. I really miss, like every year he'd have a new album, sometimes 2 in 1 year, and it would be a great time, in the 70s and 80s, to be a Frank Zappa fan and looking forward to a new album. So that's it. I would love your thoughts on Frank Zappa, just in general, and your favorite albums by him. What you think of Thing Fish, if I should give it another chance. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.